Hey students, so in this video I'm going to talk to you about modules. Okay, so a module, I know in Google Classroom we've been going through and I'm like, oh, do module 1. Let's get through module 12 through 15 today. And that's kind of confusing because in Python they actually have, I'm kind of using that word module in Google Classroom to mean like lesson. Let's get through lesson 15 today. Let's get through lesson 18. Let's do lesson, 17. And I use the word module for that. But in Python, the word module actually has a completely different meaning. So I actually probably should change those names in Google Classroom so you don't get confused. A module, you can think of it as a coding library. So it has modules are files that contain, they could contain dictionaries or functions that you can use, or just different commands and functions you can use. So it's great because Python has some built-in modules you can use. And I'm going to show you, where's my random? So I made this function that will, it's kind of a game where you guess a random number. But I said from random, and you can use W3 Schools, or you can Google, or you can look at some of the other websites I've given you to find out some of the libraries modules that Python has built into it. But one of them is random, okay? And I said I imported something called random range. So what it does is here, it randomly selects a number between 0 and 10, or between 1 and 10, okay? So I didn't have to write this code that would randomly come up with a number because Python already had it, right? So that's like really nice because there's a lot of things that you don't have to create from scratch because Python already has them written and you just know how to need to know how to import them. So this is like a really powerful thing. So it's really nice as well for people who are programmers because they can have a code that they wrote that has different functions in it in one file. Say I have like all my codes in this file right here. So I have this file that's just full of codes. It's not really, obviously, right? It's got this one thing in here. But let's say I have this file that's full of codes and I want to use it in another file. I can do that. So for example, I made this file called chooseagame.py, so the person who's playing can choose the game. And I didn't have to write all the codes for all of the games in here because I had this file for random number and I just imported that. And I had this file for my Mad Lib and I didn't have to rewrite the code in here. So this doesn't have to have a ton of code. I just imported my Mad Lib game, right there. I imported it. I have this one for Magic Square. And again, I just imported my Magic Square, right? So you can import these functions. So we've talked about making functions, and that's like one reason it's good to make functions because it makes it easy to import them. Okay, so I'm going to show you a little bit about how to do this. I'm going to make a couple of functions, and these are just going to be really dumb functions that really don't do much. So you guys get the idea of how to do this. Okay, input, I'm just gonna make this up, okay. Please choose a number. Okay. Okay, perfect. So now when I'm importing this, say I want to use one of these functions over in this other file, okay? But I don't want to have to, obviously this is not hard to, a lot of code to copy paste, but let's say these are huge long functions and huge long codes, and I don't want to have like tons of that in here, and I don't want to rewrite it, and I don't want to have this file full of all kinds of stuff. Well, I can import it. I can say, there's two ways to do it. I can do import. So I can import my module. So now I don't put my module.py here. Don't do that. Just put my module. But you do have to realize your module here has to be saved as a .py file or it won't import it. Okay, now if I want to run this greetings, I just have to type the name of it. First I type the name of the module it's coming from. So my module, okay, so the computer knows I'm getting the function from that module. And now you're going to type the name of the function, greetings. Now you notice that for greetings, you had to have a variable that went in, you had to have a name that went in. So you can put the name right here, Sarah. Okay, now let's see if this works. Let's run it. It says, hi, my name is Sarah. Perfect. All I had to do was type the module it came from that I imported, type the name of the function, and it worked. Okay, now there's another way you can do it. Let's say you don't want to write this out every time because it's kind of long. So what you can do is you can say something a little different. Let's say I just know I'm not going to use the choose a number function. I'm going to use this greetings function a ton, okay? So what you can do is you can say from, and then you say the module you're taking it from or the file, right? My module. Then you're going to say, I'm going to import greetings, okay? You're importing greetings here. Now, I don't have to write my module.greetings like I did before because I imported this specific function I wanted to use, not just the whole entire module. So I imported this specific function. So now the function, I can use it in this file. So all I have to do is put greetings and the name I want to put in there, right? Or you could, yeah, I mean, you could have that name saved as a variable and I can run it and it's going to work. Okay, perfect. So that's how importing modules works. Python has a lot of interesting modules. So one of the modules that I find interesting is NumPy. So Python is used a lot for data analysis and science, and NumPy is a really nice one. It is exactly what it sounds. Num for number, Py for Python. So it's like it has like a lot of mathematical functions and a lot of cool things to deal with numbers. There's also SciPy for science. You can graph things and you can plot things. One that I'm hoping that some of you will get to is Pygame. Okay, so you can import Pygame and import some different things from there. So then you don't have to build your games from scratch. You can use some of the things that someone else has already done. So that's it for importing modules. Let me know. Let me know if you have any questions about that. I'm going to go back and show you some of my code. So now that you know a little bit about it, look, this is a built-in module. Random's a built-in module into Python. So I just said from random, import rand range. And that's why down here, I just had to type rand range. Now, if I had just said from random like that, I would have to put random dot rand range. Okay, so if you just import the module, you have to put the module dot the function. Okay, however, if you're going, you're going to use just one function from that module, just import. Yeah, sorry, a second ago I should have put import in front of random. Import random. Okay, so just to make sure I've made this clear. Woo. If I put this, I can use any function in random. All I have to do is type random and then type the function name. So in this case, I used rand range, right? And I want, let's say something between 0 and 5. So I can use any function in random, okay? So you'd have to like look up on the W3 website or somewhere else and find out what different functions are in random that you might want to use. But if I know I'm just using only one function, I can just say, like we said earlier, from random, import rand range. Okay, now now the thing about this that is helpful / not as helpful. It's helpful because I just have to type rand range when I want to use it. However, I can only use rand range from random because that's the only thing I imported. I only imported rand range. So there's that. And I think that's it. There is a way to rename modules you're importing. So if you said import random as fun, then every time you type fun, it's going to think you're typing random. Anyway, that's something you can do to rename them if they have really long and complicated names. So anyway, hopefully that helps. Good luck. And hopefully you enjoy programming today.